Hello, and welcome everybody to the episode of the Run.down. I'm your host, Shwinny and I'm joined by Jeffrey Rasmussen. That's at FrankBarrett119 on Twitter. The Knicks lose 113-100 in a horrible, horrible loss. No, Knicks lost 113-100 to the Nuggets. That caps off. Pretty sure that's their last significant West Coast trip, right? I think they played the Spurs in San Antonio at some point. And other than that, I don't think they really have an extended trip out there, if any at all. So yeah, I mean, look, the Knicks cap off this road trip at 3-1. They were shorthanded tonight. I think everybody this is probably like the most relaxed Knicks Twitter experience you could have during a game from what I saw. But we're going to talk about this and we'll talk about more. But before we get started, just a few announcements. I'm not going to do the whole thing. You know, we have Patreon, we have all these things. It's great. If you are watching this on YouTube and you haven't done so already, please hit like, subscribe, leave us a comment. That'd be a huge help. We've got a great new sponsor. I love betting my friends and betting them on anything. Sports games. Who's fast? That's what Cut allows me to do. The Cut app is a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's legal in 40 plus states. Cut has customizable odds, tracking capabilities, and an entire social network with group chats, user profiles, and rewards. All payments, no need Venmo. What could we bet on? Well, if we had bet, I think me and Jeff both would have bet that the Nuggets would win tonight. And sure enough, they did. Use our promo code BelieveNix, BLEAV Knicks, for a 10% welcome deposit bonus. Don't forget that promo code BelieveNix, BLEAV Knicks. Put your money where your mouth is. And the tournament is here. BetOnline is your bracket headquarters for the season with the best bracket contest out there and odds, lines, and info on every game and every round right up until the national championship. You can access the most up-to-the-minute wagering information anytime from your desktop or your mobile devices and even track your bracket real-time all the way through the tournament. Head to the BetOnline app today and get in on all the action. Remember to use promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for your 50% welcome deposit, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline. The game starts here. Again, Knicks lose 113-100. I would say various players looked pretty gassed. Shout out to Jeff, who pointed out that maybe Josh Hart is not impervious to fatigue, and I think we saw that tonight. He had 2 points, 3 rebounds in 36 minutes. Just generally kind of a subdued Josh Hart performance. Didn't really have much juice. Dante DiVincenzo, 4 of 11 from the field for 11 points, 3 of 8 from 3. I think both those guys really just did not have much oomph to their game tonight. I thought Jalen Brunson played as good as you really like. If other guys weren't going to hit it on a high clip of shots, I'm not sure how much more he could have really expected from him. He had 26 points, 9 assists on 11 of 23 from the field. I got to say, I thought he got a bad whistle tonight, but I'm not really going to sit here and complain about it. It is what it is. Isaiah Hartenstein, career high 20 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. He had 2 blocks steal. I think he did as good a job as you could hope for him to do on Nikola Jokic. Unfortunately, Nikola Jokic is the best player in the world. And it did not matter what Isaiah Hartenstein did tonight. Nikola Jokic had it happen, including some insane shot that hit like the fucking top of the backboard or something and dropped in. I don't know what the hell that was. But yeah, look, Nick was
Definitely
amazing.
wasn't a foul.
Yeah, it wasn't a foul. I don't know what the hell that call was. I thought a lot of the Jokic calls were, and the Murray ones. I honestly, we can talk about Jamal Murray. And I want to say before, so nobody takes this the wrong way, I hope whatever injury he got at the end of the game is not serious. But he was like, honestly, I kind of thought it was like, it's like, you know, you're fucking like a senior beating up on like an 8th grader or something. Like, it was ridiculous watching that. Just his kind of demeanor tonight throughout the game. Anyway, the Nuggets were great tonight. Jokic was great. Michael Porter Jr. was on fire. Jamal Murray hit big shots when they needed him to hit big shots. And they're just a bigger team. And that size wore the Knicks down. And even when the Knicks got stops, they couldn't clear the defensive glass that effectively. So it was a tough night for them, but I think one that we all can probably just accept. Yeah, you're playing the best team. I personally feel the Nuggets should be the favorites. I understand why people think Boston. I just think if you have Nikola Jokic, you're the best player in the world. So I'll go with that. Anyways, I don't know. I guess I guess I'll leave you with this, and I want to get your thoughts on this, Jeff. I actually came away from this game feeling very, very good about what this Knicks team is capable of if they can get Randle and OG back at some semblance of full strength. Not because I think that means they would beat Denver, but I think you could just see the difference the size made tonight. And when you have OG and Randle, obviously that size changes. And yeah, I came away from this feeling somewhat encouraged, actually.
Yeah, I could see that. I thought that I'm trying to capture everything you said and just one by one and
Yeah.
formulate
Close.
responses.
If you're like me, you've been watching basketball for like 11 and a half hours today. So
Yeah, I have been. I thought Brunson got a really bad whistle. I actually thought the Jokic whistle was just super weird. Like, he ended up shooting 7 free throws, and I probably could make the argument that he should have shot more free throws, but none of the free throws he actually shot were like good calls. But then there were like weird times when he was hitting the arm and they just didn't call that. So it was like, I thought on the whole, like, he probably shot around the correct amount of free throws, but the whistle, they just basically were like whistling him on feel. Like, oh, okay, it feels like it's time for Jokic to get a whistle now, instead of like actually looking and seeing when he actually gets hit. As far as how we feel about the Knicks long term, I mean, I feel like that should be the consensus opinion. Like, with OG and Randle healthy, this is an amazing team. There aren't even really too many questions for me. Maybe I'm higher on them than the average Knicks fan, but like, to me, the only question is, can they beat Boston? I've said this to you in private. Like, if they get the 3 seed and they play Milwaukee in round 2, I'm going to assume they're going to be betting underdogs, and I'm going to very confidently bet on the Knicks. Like, I'm going to feel really good about it. Like, if they're healthy, of course, if they have Randle and OG and Mitch back, I think they're the better team. I think they're the second best team in the East when healthy. I will say, if we're discussing macro issues, I don't want to step on my boy XJ's toes, because I have to give credit where credit's due. He's the one who's been texting me about this. We have some ideas to talk about it. So I'm just going to, I'm not going to be too detailed. I'm not going to, again, I'm not going to overly share the details that he's said, but the Josh Hart shooting thing is worrying to me. It's bad. And I don't know, like, he's been so good recently, but the shooting is really rough. And like, there was a possession tonight where Deuce created a corner 3 for him. He passed up on the corner 3, ended up taking some floater, missed the floater. The Knicks got the offensive rebound, and then Josh Hart missed a 3 on the ensuing possession. And that like summed it up so well to me, because I don't know how many people watching this listen to Hot Hand Theory, but on a Hot Hand Theory today, I said, sometimes Josh Hart passes up on 3s and that hurts your offense. Sometimes he shoots the 3s and that hurts your offense. Like, when he's out there with another non-shooter, which the Knicks are going to pair him with, it's a really, really hard thing to do. It's just a really hard thing to do when he's going through these stretches. And this has been a really, really bad stretch. And I mean, look, I'm not trying to like sound any alarms. I know some people just get cold at some points. And Josh Hart has, like you said at the top, played so many minutes recently. He has every right to be tired. Like, he played 48 minutes, 2 or 3 nights ago. I'm sure he can find it in the playoffs. I'm not saying it's impossible. All I'm saying is he can't shoot like this in the playoffs. That is, like, I said, I don't have any questions about this team. That's the question for me.
Well, so tonight, just to highlight this, going back to the first game against the Sixers when we play them back to back, he is now 2 for 25.
20, yeah.
2 of his last 25 from 3 over the last 6 games. So, yeah, I mean, look, he's for the season now, he's shooting 31% from 3. And honestly, it just feels like, if you told me he was shooting like 22% from 3, I'd be like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. It just feels so bad when he's missing.
That's such an astute observation by you, because the reason it feels so painful is because he doesn't even shoot that much. And so mentally, you're a smart basketball fan. Internally, you almost clock the times he gets an open shot and doesn't shoot as a miss. You're like he's literally only shooting the wide open ones. So 31% does feel like 20%. Like this isn't Brunson walking into contested pull-ups. This is a guy who, like, for the most part, only shoots wide open threes. And he does all these other things so well. I'm not saying like bench him. Of course, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that we're talking about the macro discussions about this, feeling really good about this team headed in the playoffs if they're healthy. And to me, it's like a twofold question with Josh Hart. One, is he going to find it? Like, is he going to confidently shoot enough that teams can't defend him like they've been defending him recently? And again, I know there are personnel issues. I know that he's being asked to do more than he will be if the team is healthy. But if you have a big screening for Jalen Brunson and you have somebody that defenses can firmly ignore, that's a problem. So that smart teams are going to do that. All the smart coaches have shown their hand. And yes, there have been times when the Knicks have found ways to mitigate that weakness, but he has to shoot more and he has to make more threes. It's just as simple as that. And so the question to me regarding Josh Hart is he going to shoot enough? And if he doesn't, does Tom Thibodeau have it in him to say Brunson, DiVincenzo, OG, Randle, and a big is by far my best lineup? It's okay if Josh Hart plays 18 minutes tonight. Like, does he have that in him? And look, Thibodeau's been amazing like lately and this whole season, honestly. So, I mean, starting Deuce tonight, we haven't even mentioned that. I would have bet everything that he wasn't starting Deuce tonight, and I wouldn't have blamed him. I said that on High End Theory too. Like, I was just like, dude, they've got Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, and Nikola Jokic. You're asking this man to change everything he fundamentally believes in. And he did it. Like, he did it. Deuce played, what, 40 minutes tonight? 42 minutes?
Yeah, he played 43.
Yeah. So Tibbs has been amazing. He deserves the benefit of the doubt.
44, actually.
And Josh Hart deserves the benefit of the doubt. This isn't like, again, I'm not like trying to be overly negative Nancy. I'm not saying he can't do it. We're talking macro questions, macro issues. And to me, every single time I watch Josh Hart with another center, with another non-shooter, and I just study how defenses ignore him and what the pressure that puts on Jalen Brunson and the other shooters, that worries me. That to me is the ultimate question in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, to the point you're making, if there's a reason to feel bullish about kind of what you're talking about of like, hey, like, will he adapt and realize, okay, look, I love Josh Hart. Right now, this is not the good matchup for him, or this is not a good situation for him. He's not hitting his shots. Teams are ignoring him. That's putting undue pressure on blah, 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 right? If you recognize that, I think the optimistic viewpoint would be the Deuce thing, right? Starting Deuce tonight, starting Deuce in the Golden State game. And actually, if you listen to his post-game comments after the Golden State game, he specifically said, like, hey, like, one of the reasons what he gave was when we played Golden State in New York, we played, like, we got off to a really slow start and we couldn't dig ourselves out of that hole, which is great. I mean, like, it's very straightforward to us maybe to say that, but like, to your, like, Tibbs feels certain ways about certain things. So for him to have that realization, that's what, like, it doesn't matter what me and you think. Ultimately, it's not like we're fucking sitting on the sideline. But for him to think that, I think is really encouraging. And then the second thing you said, which again I find encouraging, is he specifically was like, and again, it sounds so stupid because you're like, yeah, no shit, dude. But he was like, we wanted to have Deuce on the floor because we wanted to kind of like, we needed more space. We needed them to not load up on Brunson the way they were in the first matchup. And like, so he did that. And then to your point again tonight, like, dude, he played fucking Brunson, DiVincenzo, Miles McBride. Like, those, I'm pretty sure all three of them are shorter than Jamal Murray, who is their shortest player in the starting lineup. Like, for him to go that way and accept, like, he knew they were going to lose, like on the glass. He knew that. He knew it. And he was willing to roll the dice with that. I think that speaks positively about, if we're not going to know what he does with Josh Hart and for not just Josh Hart, any type of scenarios. We don't know if there'll be a scenario where he's like, oh, fuck, like, we really need to juice the offense. Let me play Randle at the 5, OG at the 4, Hart at the 3. Like, we don't know the answer to all these things. But there are some signs that are encouraging. Does that? It doesn't. We can speculate. All I can do is be optimistic about some of the things he's done. We'll see what happens when the time comes. Let's get some comments here. And John Leary. Sorry, go ahead. Finish up.
I just have a question for you. It's totally off topic, so you can just you brought it up. So you talked about the Nuggets being favored over the Celtics. Well, you didn't say in a series, but like just over the totality of the postseason, you said Nuggets should be title favorites. Does the bench not worry you at all? Jokic was plus 30 tonight. They lost his non-minutes by 17. Like that bench is brutal.
I'm not as worried about that, only because I feel like when the playoffs come around, they're going to play Jokic like 43 minutes a night.
43
probably.
minutes a game for Jokic? No way. How many did he play last year?
Okay, like think of it this way, right? Okay, so they're gonna probably be the 1 or 2 seed, right?
Yeah.
As good as the star power of the play-in group is going to be in the West, and it's going to be awesome. I think the Nuggets will roll in that first round, so that's going to be like he can probably save himself up in those matchups. Mm-hmm. Second round is tough. Well, I mean, how many minutes did he average last year in the playoffs?
So you're I will say you were more right than I was. He didn't play 40, but he played 39 and a half minutes a game.
Yeah, but like I just think he's going to dial it up.
39 tonight, dude. He played. That's close to
the way I think of it is like they need him to probably play like 42, 43 minutes a game, something like that, for 2 series, for the Western Conference Finals and the Finals. I think they have enough, and they'll figure out a way to have enough prior to that. I also think Mike Malone in general, he's actually like, it's funny that, I mean, they coach together, so it's not that surprising that they do have some similar tendencies of like, he does these, all bench lineups a lot. That's always been a thing for him.
Plus Murray.
Plus Murray. And like those lineups generally are not good. Jamal Murray, really good player, but like, I don't know. I think he's awesome at what he does, and he's awesome at playing next to Jokic, obviously. I don't mean that as like a backhanded compliment either. Like, I think his game
and purely additive. Like I'll say something that'll resonate to people listening to this. I think if the Knicks swapped Brunson for Murray, the Knicks would get way worse, like meaningfully worse. Brunson, what the Knicks need, Brunson is way better at. And I think Brunson's better in a vacuum. I think whatever the gap is between Brunson and Murray in a vacuum, if you replace Brunson with Murray on the Nuggets, they would improve less than that, and maybe not even improve at all, because everything Murray does is purely additive to what Jokic does. There's no, like, his defense, his shooting off the ball, and I know Brunson would bring some of that, but there would definitely be a bit more of diminishing returns because of how Brunson operates. And I think Murray is legitimately one of the best players in the entire NBA that you could put next to Nikola Jokic and take nothing off the table. And that's kind of what the NBA is these days, in my opinion, at least. Maybe not everybody agrees with that, but like, I think that's the biggest compliment I could pay to him. And I'm sorry to step on your toes, but I do think that's what you were trying to say.
Yeah, no, it is. They just work together. Yeah, I don't know. I just think they'll get to the playoffs, and Mike Malone will cut the fat from the rotation. Like, dude, Christian Brown, I don't know what. Every time I've watched him this year, I feel like he's done absolutely fucking nothing. He did nothing tonight. He was just like on the floor. Like, I was like, it was kind of weird watching it. I was just like, what? Like, you had this good moments in the finals or something, and now you're just like kind of there. Peyton Watson, I like him. I like what I've seen from him this year. I think that when they get into the playoffs, though, I mean, yeah, look, the bench definitely worries me with them. I just tend to feel like really strongly about their top, like their starting lineup to me is just so good. And if you get into a tight game in the fourth quarter, I just trust them to get quality shots against any team, against any opponent, in any situation, consistently, and as much awesome space as
for us as gamblers, those live lines won't be high enough in Denver in fourth quarter matchups. Like they'll have really, Like you can just, or like the live money lines or whatever won't be high enough for Denver because that's where Denver's edge will be the biggest. To your point, they're just a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, they just get good shots all the time, and not only do they get good shots, they have like in Murray and Michael Porter Jr. They have two awesome play finishers in terms of perimeter shooting. I think KCP is pretty solid too. And then in terms of like, you talk about Josh Hart, the lack of spacing, blah, blah, blah. Aaron Gordon is somebody that teams play off of. His size gives him an advantage though, and his just vertical explosiveness. He can take that space and get to the rim off of like a kick out from Jokic in one dribble. He's spectacular. So I just think that like they have such a good understanding of playing off each other. And look, I understand how good Boston is. I'm just not gonna fucking bet on a team where their best player is Jason Tatum. Like against Nikola Jokic, I'm not doing it. I'm sorry. Give me a fucking break. All right, some comments. John Leary, never been more whatever feeling after a loss. I'm not even bothered. Plus, as a Mets fan, they signed JD Martinez. LOL, so good mood. Have to go 3-1 minimum next 4 games with this slate coming up. Yeah, I mean, I think they should go 4-0. I can pull up the schedule here. I don't remember what the hell it is. They play the Nets on Saturday, which is a sneaky, like, bullshit trap game that the NBA scheduled for us. A 1 p.m. fucking tip-off after a West Coast trip is ridiculous.
And they have they have like nothing to lose. They've been awful lately. And then also, like, I don't know if you watched. I actually thought they played pretty well against Milwaukee today. I had that on one of the TVs, and I thought they battled Milwaukee pretty hard until Dame got hot at the end. They're going to get up for the matchup. I couldn't agree with you more. Like, I feel like that's the game that the Knicks are most likely to lose of these next 4.
Yeah, so they have that game at home against Brooklyn. They play at home to the Pistons. Then they're at Toronto. Toronto, honestly, they might not have anybody for this game.
The Toronto, it'll be the Toronto Skeleton Crew. Like they're playing without Quickly, RJ, Pirtle, and Barnes. Like that, they really like. I don't know if you or how many people watching know this, but like it's a huge equity swing for them to get. They need to get a top 6 pick, or they give the pick away.
I actually think they would want to give the pick away because I feel like they want to have the pick next year. We'll see. I don't know. Either way. And also just want to say, obviously, we already know condolences to RJ, which everybody's already expressed. Quickly is out right now for some type of personal reasons. They don't have a timetable on it, so wishing him and his family the best. Hopefully, nothing too serious there. And then they play the Spurs and Victor Wembanyama next Friday in San Antonio. Then they come back. And then the schedule kind of kicks into gear here. They have the Thunder and the dastardly Miami. Then they travel to Miami to play the dastardly Heat. Hopefully, it would be really awesome if Julius Randle came back for that game and elbowed Jaime Jaquez in the face. I'd be okay with that. All right. But, look, if they can go 3-1, 4-0, I'll be happy. Judah Bencher, my favorite post-game combination. Only thing that would make it better is 19-year-old Tyrese or XJ, but he doesn't do Strickland. Well, look, check out a hot hand theory. XJ is on there. Hawkeye 420. Despite all the factors against us, it still felt like a winnable game versus the defending champs. I can't wait till we get healthy. I don't know. It was weird because every time the game got close, I kind of was just like, sorry, I just don't see it. And it just felt like when I got close, I mean, that's what he did, right? To your point about like the dependence on Jokic. It was 90-88, and then Mike Malone was like, all right, cut the shit. Like, we're putting Jokic back in. And once he came back in, it was like, all right, this game's over. But I agree with the sentence, like, again, what I said at the start.
It was literally a snap 7-0 run.
Yeah. and it just goes back to what I said at the start, though. Like, I didn't think this game was winnable really at any point, but even watching this game, even like the Knicks, look, Josh Hart was basically running on fumes. He gave you everything he had. It wasn't much, but he gave you everything he had. Everybody that played tonight gave you what they had. And if the Knicks can get right, like, if they got out of the Eastern Conference and they played Denver in the finals, of course Denver's going to be the favorite. But I don't think you're going into a gunfight with a knife if the Knicks are healthy. Let's put it that way. All right, here we go. John Leary, Nick Wright said Jokic is better than Kobe, KD at peak. Twitter was pissed. I don't like Nick Wright, but I have to agree with him. One, Nick Wright is really, really awesome when he's talking about anything that's not related, like anything that's not sports. He's fucking awesome. When he talks about sports, he's a troll. This opinion, though, I don't think is a troll. First of all, I think at his peak, he is better than those guys, probably. Not probably. I do think that. All-time peak, all that stuff is a different conversation. But like, yeah, I don't think that's an absurd statement at all. I actually think like, I mean, it doesn't really matter. I can just say it. I said plenty of stupid things before. So what could one more thing be? I think I said this last year, but like, I think there's a chance Nikola Jokic, by the time he's done, we look back on his career and we're like, was this the greatest offensive player ever? Like, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility for him.
So I'm not going to say this like this fact. This is just clearly my opinion. In my opinion, overall peak, I think there's only 4 players I can think of that are firmly ahead of him, in my opinion. And that's
Randle,
Jordan, LeBron, Steph, and Shaq.
Where do you think Randle stacks up there?
And Randle, if he didn't get hurt this season, he would have been right there. And then offensive peak, I think it's just Steph. I think Steph.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I think Steph has the greatest offensive peak ever. And I think if Jokic, I don't know. Look, Steph was kind of hurt by like. It's weird to say this because I do think I know people like to shit on KD and like I do think he helped the Warriors. Obviously, like I think people who are like, oh, they were winning with or without him are. I'm of the opinion that's crazy. I think that Cavs team was really fucking good. They were actually better the next year in 2017. That was the best Cavs team. They were just unbelievable that season. And with Durant, they just got disposed of. But Steph's individual like impact stuff was kind of hurt by Durant showing up. Like Steph didn't have to do as much. But like Steph's 2013, 2014 through 2017, like that 5-year peak that's tough. That's tough to top. But if Jokic does it a little longer, I mean, who's to say? Like, because what Jokic does is just so special.
Yeah, he's spectacular. Like I'll put it this way. Like I almost think like when you make like I mean Nick Ray has to say shit to whatever we know drive interest and all those things, but like, and I think a lot of times saying shit like that is a disservice to the players that you're talking about because it's hard to differentiate between peak versus all time, and that's a whole different conversation. But like, I don't think that's that insane of him to say. John Lurie, I think Murray pushed off on McBride on the layup. I think Murray spent most of the fucking game being an asshole. So yeah, like
drag Burks down.
That was ridiculous. I honestly like. I'm not like Burks is like that's one of those things where like you could totally fuck up your shoulder with what Murray did there because he basically like was coming down and he just dragged him down. And the thing that was stupid about it is that like, yeah, did Burks intentionally foul him? Of course he did. But Burks was trying to hold him up. He was just trying to bear hug him. He wasn't trying to like, take him down or something. He was just trying to bear hug him. And Jamal Murray just like, look, man, it's a good thing it was just Alec Burks. In the sense of like, he's just not somebody who's gonna like get into like turn something like that into an incident. But a different guy on our team, Dante, Brunson, Hart. I don't know. I think that could have been a bad situation. But yeah, I thought Murray got away with a lot tonight. And I don't know what the hell his deal was, but congratulations to him for his mean mugging of Alec Burks, fucking loser.
I don't know if you felt the same way or if you had this experience too. But I'm usually pretty locked into these games, and if this isn't a sign that I wasn't like fully locked into this game, I didn't realize that Burks was out there in the fourth quarter for DiVincenzo. Like I was just kind of like accepting that he was out there, and I was like, yeah, I guess he's made some shots tonight, and he's been fine when he's not putting the ball on the court, like when he's
dribbling.
Well, yeah, when he's not dribbling, he's been fine. And then when he re-put DiVincenzo in at like the 4-minute mark, I was like, what the fuck? DiVincenzo hasn't been out there this whole time? I was just so caught off guard. It's like, oh, man.
Yeah.
Please
It was
don't do that in games that matter.
the thing is, that's the one thing I know he won't do in the games matter. Hawkeye 420. My question for y'all: it felt like our doubles on defense for most of the game. Before the fourth felt unnecessary. Dante gambled for steals / up twice and got burned both times. I totally get that sentiment. I also think the Knicks were just like, if we just play them straight up, Jokic is going to bully us. And even when he misses, he's going to get the offensive rebound, or Michael Porter Jr. is going to get the offensive rebound, or Aaron Gordon's going to get the offensive rebound, or fucking Jamal Murray. Like, they just got so many offensive rebounds. I think they were just playing a variance game. And I think Tibbs was actually like again, an encouraging sign for him, because he doesn't like gambling a lot, like he lets OG do it because he's just like, even if he doesn't let OG do it, OG just does it, and you can't really say anything because he's successful so often and impactful. But like, I think they were just playing the variance because they felt like, look, if we play them straight up, we don't have a chance. So let's just try and see what happens. Didn't work because Jokic, some of the passes he threw tonight, but every night, but like he's just such a special player. Yeah, but no, I totally hear you. I think that was intentional though. Jordan Bub, my problem is refs in the fourth quarter, but did it matter in the end? It probably didn't. But I think Knicks and their fans will take 3-1 road trip. Yeah, I did. Again, I thought the refs were flat out bad tonight, and I kind of agree with you, Jeff. Where it was like, I didn't come away from this being like, man, the Nuggets got so many more calls than we did or something, but it just felt like the whistle made no sense.
Right.
Like, I didn't understand what was a foul, wasn't sure what wasn't a foul. I didn't know when the Knicks were going to get a call. I will say very specifically though, Brunson got a bad whistle tonight.
For sure.
Which,
you know who gets a weirdly bad whistle is Boyan. They just don't give
terrible
a shit.
whistle.
Dude,
Whistle.
he gets killed on his drive sometimes because he's like so slow. He's like white Kyle Anderson, and like he invites contact, and has he shot a free throw as a Knick? Like, I'm sure he has, but
yeah,
it's felt like he's been pissed like a bunch the last few games. He's probably pissed about. I mean, dude, he's got to put the ball in the basket. He can't put the ball in the basket.
You can tell him like not making shots bothers him to such a high degree. Again, like, I'm sure people are sick and tired of hearing this. Like, I just will continue to believe that at some point the shots will go in for him because he's got a long track record as a shooter. But, they have 13 games left in the regular season. He's either going to do it or he's not. We'll see which way it goes. John Leary, maybe I'm overthinking it, but the fact Josh Hart and Brunson had Randle on the pod and Julius was in a really good mood makes me still think he's coming back despite the lack of updates. I would expect Julius Randle to return at some point, maybe within the last couple of weeks of the season. That's what I think. I will say I noticed.
What do you mean by that? I'm sorry to interrupt. What do you mean by that?
I think that he would come back in the last couple of weeks of the regular season.
But isn't it already the last couple of the weeks of the season?
No, I mean like the last 2 weeks. That's what I think.
Okay.
Like 4 or 5, 6 games, something like that.
Okay.
I will say I watched the pod, and I also am trying not to overthink it. One thing I noticed was that, during the course of the conversation, everybody kind of fidgets around. He had his right arm up and moving around and stuff. So, it looked positive in terms of the full range of mobility seems to be there. Obviously, the fact that he's doing light contact work and is on the floor speaks to that. Now, how stable it is, how strong it is, that's the shit we don't know. We have no idea about. So we'll have to see it. But yeah, I mean, you have to think the fact that he's traveling with the team and all that type of stuff makes you feel good. Fred Katz had something in his piece today where he mentioned that behind the scenes, Julius is desperate to come back. So this might be something where they're trying to save, I feel like they, as an organization, are trying to keep him out and give him as much time as he can before they bring him back. But I would be surprised if he doesn't at least give it a shot before the season's over. I would be genuinely very, very surprised by that. David Goodman just ran out of gas. Good effort. I agree. This is probably the game, this and the Pacers game, the night that we traded Quick and RJ for OG. Those are probably the 2 games I watched this year, and I was just I don't care if they I expect them to lose, and I just cannot care about this. I I feel the same way. They tried. They didn't have the juice tonight overall, and they came up short against what at worst they're the second favorite, right? Like they're like top 1 or 2 to win the title. So it's not really a crazy thing. Jordan Bub says, any Nuggets fans here, you were in a dogfight for the majority game of the team that didn't have an all NBA player, all defense player, defensive player of the year candidate, and only won by 13. I get the sentiment, and as a Knicks fan, I would love to. That's good propaganda. I just feel like anytime the game was in the balance, they just and this is not just against the Knicks, by the way. They have this knack for like when it's like, all right, it's time to get it's fucking put up or shut up time. They execute. They always execute. That's like that is like I forgot who wrote this. Somebody, one of the a big writer, but like that's their superpower is that they can just get good shots at the end of games in tight situations whenever they need it. And it's, I mean, you know, there's not many teams I can remember in the history of basketball that could do it like that.
You brought up the Aaron Gordon part. I'll be interested this postseason to watch if any team is able to play him off the court. Like just the thing is that you brought up the really good point that Gordon is so good on like the receiving end of those lobs and cutting back door and posting like if they forget about him for a second, he'll just do like a quick post and Jokic will find him. And the other thing that people forget is he's the only non-shooter. Like that's the difference. Like when Josh Hart is out there, he's playing with a center. So like think about how the Knicks run their offense. They have the big screening just like the Nuggets do all the time. The Nuggets have Jokic screen all the time. The first domino for the defense is rotating off of Josh Hart. Whereas like Aaron Gordon, yes, you can rotate off him, but it's different because when the Knicks force you into a scramble, once Isaiah Hartenstein sets the screen, you in theory have two guys that you're kind of okay with, touching the ball. Hartenstein's been making him pay recently, whereas Aaron Gordon's the only one. So it's not exactly the same. But I'll still be curious, to see if at any point the Nuggets have to go with Peyton Watson, because Watson's defense has been really good this season. And
has Watson shot the ball well?
I think so. I don't know.
He's shooting 31.2% from three. The guy, what happened to Strother? Is he hurt or something?
Who?
They had that rookie Julian Strother, who was playing well initially to start the year. He's not in the rotation. This might be like, again, when like, oh my God, Tibbs is the worst at this stuff. Every coach has their weird thing. Mike Malone is low key very much a boomer, just like Tibbs is a boomer. But he's our boomer, just like Mike Malone is the Nuggets boomer. And there are worse boomers to have. Let's put it that way.
I just want to say this about Watson. He's at least a willing shooter. So he won't provide gravity. He'll be the guy people help off of. But he's shooting over 4 threes per 75, and 31% is not good. Gordon's shooting 28%, and he's only shooting 2 threes per 75. He is like the definition of a non-shooter. So I do think there is a little bit of a difference, even though I was technically wrong.
John Leary, ideally Josh Hart is a 20 to 25 minute player. Yeah, I agree. But I think there are nights where you can dial him up to 30, 35 shit. We've seen situations obviously where you play more, but he's very much like if he's got it going, you leave him in. If he doesn't, and obviously right now is a different situation. But when the Knicks have their guys, like if he doesn't have it going, you don't need to play him 25, 30 minutes, right? Like, so that's the ideal role for him. And I'm fine with that. Like, he's awesome in so many ways. It's just that you have to know when to ramp him up and when to dial him back. David Goodman, Josh Hart just needs to play less and he'll get some of his shooting ability back. Need OG and Randle for this to happen. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, we sound like a broken record at this point, but it's just so important to get those guys back because the Knicks really need it. And honestly, forgetting the Josh Hart of it, and Josh Hart benefit from it. Like the attention that Brunson is commanding right now, can we just see how our team at full strength with all, like, I don't know. I just want to see it. I just want to see it. But I agree. John Larry, random note. Random note, but I listened to Hot Hand Theory, Jeff. I heard discussion about Jeter not winning MVP despite winning Gold Glove and Best Hitter award. A-Rod in 2003 had 10.3 WAR. Miguel Tejada had a 3.8 WAR. Is that the year Tejada won MVP?
That
Or no,
I
that
mean,
was. I think that was A-Rod won MVP that year. That was in. Was he still in Texas then?
I think Tejada won in 2002.
Let's see.
Or
Yeah, it was A-Rod. A-Rod in 2003.
did Tejada win in 2002?
Let's see. 2002 AL MVP.
Feels right to me.
It was Tejada in 2002.
Yeah, so that's probably what John meant. Yeah, so I mean, we were just joking because the voters gave, like, they voted him in 2006. The voters voted Jeter the Hank Aaron Award, which is the award for best hitter in the league. And then they also voted him the Gold Glove Award, which is the best fielder. So they said that you're the best hitter in the league and the best fielder at the most important position, but then didn't vote him MVP. It just made no sense. It was like Jordan. It would have been like Jordan in '88 winning Defensive Player of the Year and scoring 35 points a game on 60 whatever true shooting and not winning MVP. It's like, okay.
It's I mean, we all know that the real MVP should have been Pena. You know, should have been Carlos Pena.
Are you like a closet Rays fan over there? Is that you remember those 40 home run seasons for the Devil Rays? Yeah.
God, that stadium was such a shithole.
I grew up there. I was there quite often as a youth.
Nice indoor stadium in fucking Florida.
Dude, what are they doing? Oh my god, it always smelled terrible. The food, it was rough there, man. That was us toughing it. That was rough. God, you're a Yankees fan, right, Sean? Kind of.
Yeah. It was.
Dude,
I mean, I used to be like pretty diehard, but now I'm like the ultimate casual. I just
I called my dad after Game 7 of 2004. He was on a work trip, and I just like begged him to not let me go to school. Like, just don't make me go to school. And he was like, "This is one of those moments, son. You got to face it." And I just got fucking destroyed the next day at school. Just everyone like, "Oh, Jeff, good luck in the World Series." Fuck, man. That was
awful. Jordan Bub, NBA Iron Man. Mikal Bridges has now played 500 consecutive games and has never missed a game in his career. The best ability is availability. Yeah, I mean, he's never missed a game. There are many Nets fans who have suggested that maybe he should sit some games because he has not looked up to his best. He played a decent game tonight, but it's been a rough stretch for him.
There are also Nets fans who wonder if they should like kill the team so that they can get players from other teams.
NBA Reddit, fabulous place.
Man, it's fucking funny.
John Leary, DeAndre Jordan can't be your backup center in 2024. I mean, so this is the stuff that like I think is why I like feel pretty okay about the Nuggets still. Is like last year in the playoffs, fucking Mike Malone was just like, all right, yeah, Aaron Gordon, backup 5. That's it. That's our plan. That's it. And like it works better than fucking DeAndre Jordan. But I agree. I mean, DeAndre Jordan, he did have a nice dunk, but he's so bad, man. He's terrible. And he's been terrible for years now at this point. He must just be the nicest guy in the league or something.
I was literally about to say that. He must be such a good locker room guy. Like,
because every time you're like, oh, well, that's it. Nobody's going to sign in. And then it's like, oh, the fucking champs are signing this guy on a veteran minimum? What the hell?
Dude, I thought it was it for him before the Nets gave him all that money. Like, I thought he was done then.
He was terrible in New York when we saw him. I was like, dude, he can't do anything now.
He was so bad. And then, like, I remember when the Nets had Jared Allen, and they were like, "No, we need DeAndre." I was like, what the fuck are you doing?
And we got to start him. And actually, if you don't start him, you're going to lose your job.
And then you're going to lose your job anyway. So.
Yeah. Jordan Bub from Allen Hunt finished with season low 31 rebounds, season low 4 offensive rebounds, and allowed season high 66 points in the paint. Fought their ass off. Facts for facts, size matters. Yeah, I mean, that was the big takeaway. And honestly, when you watch the Nuggets, like, if you watch them consistently, you know, on these West Coast games and stuff, like, dude, they're an imposing team. And I think that size they have is really, really It is an advantage. And honestly, it's an advantage like Jokic makes that so relevant because he makes their offense just go. Like even if they're spacing like, even if their spacing in certain lineups isn't ideal, like those bench lineups with Jokic are fucking terrible. And you'll look up their net rating and they're like +7. I'm like, wait, what? How is he doing that? Like that doesn't even make sense. You're out there with like fucking the corpse of Reggie Jackson and like Christian Brown, who God knows what he's doing right now, but he's not fucking playing
That was
NBA
like
basketball.
that. Do you think that was why they traded Bones? Like Bones is like the only player in the history of the NBA to lose his minutes with Jokic, and they're like, all right, there's no way, no way you can.
It's like when the Warriors were just like Kelly Oubre. Yeah, we're good. Yeah, we're good, dude. We're gonna move on here. You're not good with Steph Curry. Yeah, we're moving on.
The Steph test, like it used to be the Steph test. Like if you couldn't win your minutes with Steph, now Jokic is taking that and like.
Yeah, Jokic is he's the one now. He's the litmus test.
I assume, Schwinn, you watched the Kentucky Oakland game.
I had it like I was flipping back and forth a little bit. Yeah.
So you saw that just sick shooter for Oakland just going nuts. Like you saw a little bit of it.
Yeah.
Dude, he like apparently in his post-game presser was just like, yeah, I know I'm not playing in the NBA, and like was just like kind of talking shit. It's like I'm not playing in the NBA, but I can hang on the court with those guys. And somebody responded with, "This guy don't know that Spo's waiting to get him on the Heat next year."
Dude, get that guy in the Nuggets. The way he can shoot, get him on the Nuggets, man. Just play him with Jokic, he'll be good to go.
There's no chance he does not have a Gary McNamara or Jerry McNamara poster on his wall. That is exactly how he was shooting.
Wow, Jerry McNamara. That's the name I've not heard in a long time. That's a blast.
We're the only two like probably old enough to remember that guy.
Jerry McNamara, Queth Duaney. What a team. Judah Bencher against the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. Jokic averaged 42 minutes per game and 41.1 in the finals. Yeah, I mean, and against the Lakers, they like that. So like that's the Lakers have built their entire team basically to try to like combat the Nuggets size, and it's just really funny that every time they play the Nuggets, it is literally the same script every game. Really, really close in the fourth quarter. Then Jokic comes in and he's just like, I'm going to hit some shots that are going to be really annoying, and you're going to have to deal with it. It's fine. And that's it. Like every game is the same. I think they've won now like something like 12 in a row against the Lakers. And every single game is the same.
He hasn't lost to LeBron or Steph in 5 years. Either of them. What?
That's nuts. Well, no, he would have lost to Steph but you're saying the regular season?
In the regular season. Yeah. He lost to Steph in the 2022 playoffs.
Right.
Yeah.
Which with his skeleton crew. Yeah, Jason Arvalo, Murray's tailor-made for Jokic. I agree. Some guys like it's like Draymond. Like Draymond with almost any other guard or in any other team in the league, you'd just be like, this guy, he would just never have the career he had. But he got onto a team that had Steph Curry, and his skill set is so perfect for Steph. Like some guys are just made to play like off of each other, and Murray and Jokic have something really special for sure. Jordan Bubb, any thoughts on Mitch's return and any prediction on when Mitch's first game back will be?
Let me look at the schedule. I think Mitch will be back against either Miami or Sacramento. Let's go with that. Sacramento.
I think
April 4th.
I think
nothing. I have no sources.
I don't feel too strong on this. Again, I am like the ultimate. I'm not a doctor, so I don't like to speculate on this stuff, guy. I think he'll be back. I think he'll be back for the Thunder game. That's what I think. I'll get that. So that would be March 31st. So that's next, not this upcoming Sunday, but the Sunday after.
My thinking was, because I was looking in that range, obviously. My thinking was against the Thunder, it's like, not that we don't need size, but like they go so small anyways, and like all they have is stretch bigs. It would just be a weird game to bring him back in, you know?
That must be like a fucking like playing the Thunder for Tibbs must be like a fucking holy war philosophically. Yeah. where he's just like, these fucking liberals turning my beautiful game into this spread out sissy league. We've got to teach them what it's like in the trenches. Like,
Yeah. Tibbs like, where my country gone?
Yeah. We used to be a country. We used to be a society. What happened here?
Oh man, it is funny that was like what broke the last version of the Knicks. It was the Thunder. Like Tibbs couldn't take it anymore. He was like, "Get these fuckers out! Get me somebody!"
I need a wing defender right now.
Yeah.
John Leary. Nuggets drafted Donovan Mitchell, trade him for Trey Lyles. Imagine they kept him as well, or do you guys think he wouldn't have been the best fit? No, I think Mitchell would be fucking awesome playing off Jokic, especially the way he's developed. Like, no, they would be fantastic. Like, that would be. But the thing is, it's always like these butterfly effect things, right? If they get Donovan Mitchell, then what? Then they don't have Michael Porter Jr. maybe the next year. Maybe they don't trade for Aaron Gordon. Like, there's just so many. You never know. You never know how this stuff works. But like, yeah, of course, sure. Like, look, if you're telling me that there's a world where Jokic would have gotten to play with a backcourt of Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell, like, yeah, I like my odds of them still being really fucking good and maybe even better than they are now.
But this is why, and like, we won't expand on this, and most people here will just laugh at me. So if you're actually interested in this type of stuff, check us out on High Hand Theory. Schwinn will be on High Hand Theory again at some point. But to me, this is why basketball is so interesting, because nobody in their right mind would put Donovan Mitchell and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope in the same stratosphere in a vacuum. I'm not fully convinced that, like, if you just replace Mitchell with KCP with Mitchell today, that, like, there's major improvement. I don't think whatever improvement there is, I don't think it's nearly as wide as the gap between them, their impacts in a vacuum. Like, KCP is the perfect shooting guard for what they need right now. They don't need any more initiation. They need a defender and they need an elite shooter. And like, that's what he is. So I don't know. Like, again, like, some people are just going to think I'm totally idiotic right now. Like, oh, Mitchell's just so good. He is so good. I'm very, very high on Donovan Mitchell. I just think synergy and fit and like additive skill sets are so important when you're talking about like the very best players in the league and mixing them. And I think that's just something that's super interesting to think about, because I'd imagine 99.9% of people who love basketball, love the NBA, would just be like, oh yeah, like they would get way better. They'd be the best team of all time. And I don't feel that way.
Yeah, it just changes so much of every dynamic. It's like Michael Porter Jr. is even valuable to your team then, or how valuable? It's always interesting to think about that stuff. Judah Bencher, fitting hot hand theory concept. How badly will Randle slow down this high movement Brunson Hart 2-man game? Not to mention he's the kind to need time to get back into things. One thing I want to say, I'm happy you mentioned this. I wanted to bring this up. I forgot to. I mentioned it in our Discord during the game, but like Brunson, I have no stats to back this up. This is just my feeling. I would love to see the stats on this. I would guess that Brunson has more assists to Isaiah Hartenstein in the last month than he had to Mitchell Robinson, like maybe the last 2 years.
I'm going to research.
Because they have a really good chemistry, and it's really like it's popping. You can see it, like exactly what you're talking about. You can see it. As far as the Randle piece of it, like, look, this is why this actually speaks to exactly what Jeff is talking about, though. Where like on paper, you just add, insert Julius Randle. He's an 87 overall. Like, he's better than fucking Josh Hart. He's a 78 overall. Like, yeah, but like that's not how this stuff works, right? It's more complex than that. How these players interact with each other. Look, I think the Knicks absolutely need Randle. They have to get him back. They cannot just have one guy capable of creating offense. Like they're not. You're not going to go deep with that. Like, you're just not. Like, look at Nikola Jokic. I think we all agree, like, at worst he's a consensus top 3 player in the league. I think most people would say he's the best guy right now. And when he didn't have Jamal Murray, there's a limitation to how far he can go. And more than that, if you go back to when they lost to the Warriors in 2022, go back and look at some of the comments people were making after that series and during that series. There's a lot of people shitting on Aaron Gordon. Oh my God, this guy can't do this, can't do that. And yeah, he can't. But then you add it, get Jamal Murray back. And then you go back and watch last year's playoffs, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, Aaron Gordon is this valuable piece, and he connects everything. And it's like this is the hardest part in everything in team building. But to your point, like that you're making here, Judah, this is why, like, this ultimately is something that falls on Tibbs to a large degree and Randle. Like, can you come in and yeah, of course that the Knicks will have to cater more to Julius than they would another player, and he's worth catering to because we do need his shot creation, but it 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 needs to be a mix, right? Like it has to be okay. We'll bend to you, but you got to bend to maybe this new dynamic that we've established here. Um, and honestly, like in terms of just the skill set, there's no reason Randall could not thrive playing like this. His physical talent, his tools, his abilities, he should thrive, right? Like, dude, the way Jalen Brunson's fucking getting defended right now,
Yeah.
Julius should be like fucking thrilled to set him screens. And it's like, guess what, dude? If you set a legitimate screen, you're going to get 4-on-3 opportunities all the time, constantly. Like, will he accept that? Is that something that they can, blend in and all this stuff? I don't know. That's the hard part. And look, that's the part I don't envy Tibbs's job and trying to make this stuff happen. And it is hard because it's going to have to happen on the fly. It's easy to be like, well, they have experience playing together and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but they, for the last basically 2 months now at this point, it'll be 2 months on Sunday. Like, they've played in a totally different way without Julius Randle or OG Anunoby for that matter. OG is a lot easier to just plug and play regardless of how you are playing stylistically. Julius is different. Julius is a more dynamic on-ball offensive talent, but that introduces changes and how you make all that stuff and incorporate him and blend it all together. That will ultimately determine what the Knicks ceiling is this year and moving forward. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely something to think about.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, all right, Sean, I'm going to show my ignorance here. How do you pronounce OKC's head coach's last name?
Daignault?
Daignault. I thought he had an amazing quote a few weeks ago. He talked about, he was asked about their defensive rebounding. And he said something along the lines of, we're not chasing perfection. Being a perfect team is impossible. Our goal is that the trade-offs we make, so if we're sacrificing something, we're gaining something on the other end, that at the net we're making ourselves the best team possible. So I just think that's so like humble and self-aware, and that's exactly how it should be. Like Utopia, there's no such thing as a perfect team. There's always going to be trade-offs. And I think this was such a good question because reintroducing Randle will involve trade-offs. Like he's such a good player in a vacuum. He's such a spectacular individual player, but there are things that the Knicks are able to do right now that, to be frank, they won't be able to do when Randle's back, and that's okay. The essential thing for the Knicks is to make it so the ultimate trade-off when Randle returns that the net is positive and it's close to as positive as it should be when you introduce a multiple-time All-Star, multiple-time All-NBA player. And Schwinn, you made a great point. Some of that is on Randle to do things that make him an additive piece, to try to be interactive with Brunson, to not just say the majority of my offense is going to come from shooting threes off the catch and like isolating. Like those are things that aren't interactive with their true best player at all.
And to be fair though, like, and this is why I think it's a tricky thing is like, it's always nice to be like, oh my God, why can't they just pass and move and cut and get 7,000 assists a game? And that's true. But also like there are times where I'm like, man, it'd be really nice to just have somebody that get a bucket right now. And like the Knicks need that. They do need that thing that Julius gives them is a second guy that can go and get you a bucket. But it's about picking and choosing and understanding when they need that, when you need to do something else. And, like I think Julius was playing at such a high level when he got hurt. Probably, honestly, the best I've seen him play. I said that at the time. I was amazed at how he was playing. I thought it was like the most mature ball of his career. I really feel that. I thought it was like he had kind of evolved his game mentally and everything. He was just playing at such a high level. So you can only hope that he gets back there when he does return. But it's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. And they have to do it in real time at the end of the season and hopefully getting into the playoffs when you're going to be playing against the best teams in the league. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
So Schwinn, are you ready for? So Jalen Brunson has assisted Mitchell Robinson 30 times in his entire Knicks career. 30 assists to Mitchell Robinson. And he's assisted Isaiah Hartenstein 11 times in the last month. So not more, but
sorry, what was the Mitch number?
Brunson's assisted Mitchell Robinson 30 times in his entire Knicks career.
Wow. That's crazy considering the minutes they played together last
season. Yeah. And Hartenstein is 11.
That's wild.
Since the All-Star break. Since February 24th or whatever.
Wow. That's wild. All right. JL says Orlando's remaining schedule versus ours is interesting because there's definitely some tough games for Orlando, but they play a majority of them at home where they've been really good. Yeah, I mean, they got, by the way, hopefully Brandon Ingram is okay. That looked like a pretty bad knee injury. He was able to walk off with assistance, but look, the first thing that came to my mind was like, man, if he sprained his knee, they're really lucky because that looks like that could have been an ACL. So hopefully for his sake and for them, honestly, because hey, look, Jeff and actually just did a deep dive on the Pelicans too. But like, hopefully Ingram is all right because he was playing some of the best ball of his career and they were playing really well.
I will say though, Schwinn, and of course I echo your thoughts. I hope for the best for Brandon Ingram, of course, and like I'm not saying they're better without Brandon Ingram, but we did recently introduce the clone theory on Hot Hand Theory, and Zion not sharing the initiation reps with Ingram, and just surround Zion with shooting. Let's just see what the Pelicans look like. Like this is a classic clone theory situation, I would say. And so who knows? Maybe the drop off won't be as significant. Maybe it will be, and we'll have to adjust. But
yeah, well, they're definitely very interesting. But yeah, like of course the Magic win that game. I look, they've had really good injury luck this year too, Orlando. And look, the Knicks were on the right end of that last year, so nothing to complain. Like it's just the luck of it. It is what it is. But honestly, like I don't give a fuck about home court. Like I care about this team being healthy for the playoffs. If they're healthy for the playoffs, I think they play Orlando in the first round.
Sorry, Schwinn. I was just gonna say, I think he's worried about both of us passing Cleveland.
Oh, I mean, yeah, definitely possible. It's just like there's just not a lot of games left. So talking about 13, 14 games, and like, yeah, you're right there, but you don't have much of a margin. Like, for example, like the Knicks lose one of their next 4 games. These are games on paper they're going to be favored in, all of them. If they drop one, which is not unreasonable, like you can drop one game against 4 in 4, even against underdogs. Like you just don't have a lot of season to make that up. So you just don't have a lot of margin for error. And again, like quite frankly, to me, I just all I really care about Knicks getting a top 6 seed. I don't care too much about the seeding. I don't care too much about where they end up. I want the top 6 seed. I don't want them to have to play in the play-in. I want them to have that week off. I think that'll be really, really important for them because hopefully by that time, OG is back, Randle is back, Mitch is back. That gives you time on the practice floor to really iron stuff out. So I think that will be very, very important. And that's my main kind of focus right now is just get a top 6 seed, It would be great if the Knicks can get the 3 or the 2 maybe, but probably not. But like, it'd be nice. It'd be great if they can do that.
Because like Schwinn, I mean, I'm just looking at the Cavs schedule. They have in their next 10 games, 7 of them are at Minnesota, at Miami, at Denver, at Phoenix, at Los Angeles, at Los Angeles.
This is Orlando?
6. No, this is Cleveland.
Oh, okay.
So like I do like though like you get like they go 2-4 in those games. Then I feel like the 3 seed is right there for the taking, and maybe you disagree with this. I think there's a huge equity difference between getting the 3 seed and the 4 seed. I think I
Oh, I
don't.
mean, I get that. My feeling is just like, I get it. You want to avoid having to play Boston until the Eastern Conference Finals, and I totally understand it. But for me, I'm like, you're gonna have to slay the dragon. Like, that's just what's gonna happen. If that's the second round, if that's the Eastern Conference Finals, if it's the first round, whatever, like, it is what it is. You're gonna have to play them. In all likelihood, you're gonna have to play them, and you're gonna have to beat them. And if like, so for me, the priority is, can we have our guys healthy if and when we would play them? That is my main concern. But yes, I agree. Like, if you're just like, I want the Knicks to have the best chance possible of going as far as they can, then yes, you want to avoid playing Boston for as long as you can. So yeah, for sure. Like, there's definitely a difference between getting the 3 to the 4 seed. John Leary, does Boyan look stiff? I don't know, just doesn't look comfortable on offense for a player who's been really good on that end of his career. I still feel like he's trying to figure shit out. I gotta say, I almost always think he's making the right decision on when to pass. His execution of passing has been fucking awful. Like, he had that pass today where he had Hartenstein underneath the rim, and he was trying to get on the ball, which was the right move, and he just threw it against like Jokic's thigh. Like, just threw it against his thigh. It was so bizarre. He routinely tries to make the correct pass to the corner, but he's getting it tipped by defenders or throwing it out of bounds or whatever. I don't know. He does look stiff, but I still feel like he's just like really struggling to find, because he's not making shots. I think he's passing up opportunities to take shots that you probably want him to take. He's trying to force passes that probably you don't really need him to make or shouldn't make. And I just think he's pressing. I really think like he needs to string together a couple of good games. Sorry, a couple of bad games. He's done that. He needs to string together a couple of good games together really badly. And the Knicks need him too. They need any type of offensive boost they can get, and he's somebody who does have the ability to help an offense. He just has not shown much of it in New York so far.
Yeah, I mean, we they are. I'm just going to continue to say it. Like, Grimes forgetting how to play basketball has spared this a lot, because
It's one of the funniest trades in recent memory so far.
Yeah, it's weird too. Of course, it would probably look really weird for Monty Williams to just be like, "Hey, Quinn, you've been terrible lately. Get in the starting lineup." But like, there's so much evidence that Grimes is just like the ideal fit next to a backcourt of Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey. Like, if you need someone to play off them and defend, and like that's what he does well. It's almost weird, like with the season over, that they haven't just been like, all right, let's just fucking see how this goes. Like
to his credit, I mean, Grimes has been injured for a lot of it. He's only played like 5 games, I think, since the trade, which is tough. But Brian Benjamin, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it as always. At work, like always, game looked close in the box score. It was. I mean, it was a close game in the box score. Again, I felt the entire night that anytime the Nuggets needed to get separation, they were going to be able to. But the next game, they competed, and that's really all you can ask of them tonight. John Leary, you guys see a few months ago, Kenyon Martin in the pod thought the 2008-2010 Nuggets of Chauncey could beat this Nuggets team.
So the one that lost in the first round twice and then made a Western Conference Finals run in 2009.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
I will say, I mean, they gave that. So that year's Lakers team,
they should have won that series.
They should have won that series, and that was the best Lakers team of the 3 finals in a row. That was the most dominant Lakers.
Was that That was Orlando, right? When they beat Orlando?
Yeah, they beat
Orlando.
That
was the best one.
Yeah, that was the best Kobe was those 3 years. That was probably the best Powell was those 3 years.
Odom was awesome then.
And Odom was awesome. They had the most depth. Like, they were spread pretty thin the next season, and
they had Ariza on that team, right? Ariza was on
Ariza was on the first one. Yeah, he wasn't on the second one. They replaced him with Artest the second time.
Yeah.
and Artest hit the shot against Boston in Game 7.
That was so funny.
Yeah.
It's like literally, I remember watching that. I'm like, this is a terrible, great shot. Great shot.
And he said, what did he say in the post game? He was like, I just couldn't believe Kobe passed to me.
Yeah. I think he was like, I had to shoot it, right? He's like, Kobe passed me, like I had to shoot the ball then. I was like, all right,
Yeah.
fair enough. I did not see that though. Kenyon Martin, just a lot of terrible takes. Didn't he have that take last year where he was like, Randle is like, he was like insulting Randle because he went and hugged his wife after a game or something? It's just like, dude,
Yeah.
get a grip, man.
He's not a man. No man
Yeah.
hugs their wife and goes and sees their kid after the basketball game.
It's like, I don't know. It seems like pretty normal, actually. Tay 2-2. Jokic owes an ass whooping after his biggest career loss. Hey, Jokic gives a lot of people ass whipping, so it's fine. Kansas is in hell. Are they playing right now? I'm not locked in right now. Oh wow, they're up 4. They're up 4 on Sam Houston. Is they playing Sam Houston State?
Isn't that game way over? That game has to be over. Is it like an overtime? Oh, it's not over. What the fuck? This must have been the longest game ever.
Stanford Bulldogs. I think I did 2 brackets. I literally picked everything at random. So I have no idea how my brackets are doing. I probably won't check until after the tournament's over.
In the one you're in with me, I have Kentucky in the finals, so we're doing great.
Tay 2-2. Bogey needs to play with Mitch and get the ball on the rim. Yeah, Mitch with this fucking bench group, it might not be pretty, but he would help that unit a lot just with his ability to generate extra possessions, putbacks, all that stuff. And again, when this team is healthy, I really would not be surprised if you see a bench lineup at some point of like Mitch.
Holy shit.
Yeah, Mitch, OG. I mean, honestly, I think you could see a Mitch, Precious, OG, Hart, Deuce lineup, and the offense will be disastrous, but they're going to have like a plus 16 net rating because their defense will just not allow any points. There'll be no points allowed. It'll like some of the like, honestly, we're going to get sent back to like, you're going to see some real 1992 hoops when Mitch gets back with some of these lineups. I'm pretty confident of that.
So wait, but when you say that, that means you think Bogey's just going to get benched.
I think Bogey and Burks are both going to get benched.
I said, I forget, it was either on this postgame show or on High Hand Theory. I said that weirdly, I thought Tibbs was going to bench Bogey and keep Burks in the rotation. He loves Burks, dude. He's just waiting for Burks to like place. Like tonight, he showed.
I knew it. I always believed in him. But yeah, I mean, look, I got to say the biggest takeaway though, and honestly, we can wrap up with this. Something else to talk about. The biggest positive to come out of this West Coast trip is Tibbs clearly likes Deuce, and Deuce is rewarding him. He's hitting shots. He's still not great running he's not good. Forget not great. He's not good at running the offense. He's not even particularly adequate at running the offense when he's out there without Brunson. But you put him on the floor, Brunson, he's showing you a lot. He's showing you quite a bit. And he's been awesome this year. And hey, man, 3 years, $13 million. Leon Rose doing it again.
That's just like, dude, Quickly's probably gonna get like $25 million a year from Toronto.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, like I'm fine paying, like everyone knows I love Quickly, and I'd be fine paying him $25 million a year. But like Deuce is going to be making half of that across 3 seasons. Like the math isn't exactly mathing there.
He's basically going to be making 1/8 of what Quickly does per year.
Yep.
So yeah. All right. Thanks to everybody that joined us here today. Appreciate that you guys are sickos just like us and watch the Knicks play this Nuggets team. 3-1 West Coast trip. All in all, successful trip for the Knicks. Thanks for rocking with us. Thank you for all the comments. Thank you for the super chat. Again, none of this, any success we have is due to the support of all you guys in the comments. So thank you for everybody that contributed. Jeff, let people know they can find you. Plug anything that you want to plug before we get out of here.
I remain Frank Barrett 11-9. I think that's just here to stay. I think, I think that's just it. Yeah, I don't have any writing coming up for the Strickland, but everything Strickland, Schwinn's had some great pods recently. Stacy and with Prez as always. I think you had that Kings guy on recently, right? I listened.
We didn't have him on recently, but we did have him on during the trade deadline pod that we did.
Oh, okay. Man, I could have sworn you came. Okay, well, unintentionally plugging something that doesn't exist. But the point is, listen to Schwinn's pods, read all the Strickland stuff. And we referenced it a few times, but I started my own pod, Hot Hand Theory. We do it a little bit different there. We talk about analytics and marry it with film. And yeah, we're just trying to, like I said, do it a little different. So come and check us out if you're interested in more Knicks and NBA stuff.
Definitely agree. Check out their pods. Jeff and X-Ray are doing a really good job over there. I have nothing to plug personally. I'm going to plug the work again at Strickland. Matthew Miranda wrote a really nice piece today on kind of the draft outlook for the Knicks, considering they have 2 first-round picks in this draft. So they have an opportunity to hopefully get some more low-cost contributors that will disappear for 2 years and then emerge in Tibbs' rotation as quality rotation players.
Oh man, Samford just got so fucked. Holy shit, that's crazy. Dude, they cut it to one with they cut it to one with 15 seconds left, and this white dude for Kansas gets like there's 12 seconds left, so they're trying to steal the inbounds. This white dude for Kansas gets a fast court, like a full or a breakaway dunk. Guy for Samford chases him down. LeBron chase down block. All ball, not even a little bit, and they called a foul. Oh my god, this is crazy.
That's tough.
Sorry.
Oh, all good. But yeah, enjoy the college basketball. We'll be back after the Nets game on Saturday afternoon, so be on the lookout for that. Aside from that, I got nothing. So thank you to our sponsors, BetOnline, Cut, and thanks to everyone again that was in the chat contributing today. We'll see you on Saturday. Have a good night, and we'll see you then.